Good afternoon, and welcome to Courtenay Pollock Sunday Sessions. So before we dive into more life and times of Courtenay Pollock, we are...
Ka-ching!
I
Good
am
timing.
excited to know a little bit about the piece behind us. So Courtenay, would you like to tell us a little bit about that before
right.
we go into story time?
Yes, the piece that I used to have up here behind the couch, which was one of my favorites, was bought by a friend, Brad Davis. That's been, he's a beautiful musician and has been a great supporter of my artwork. And he purchased that galactic telescope. So this one is called Midnight Firmament, and it's another lovely piece, darker, but with a certain clarity, because the upper part's these pinks and the lower part is these kind of golds and orange glows interspersed with turquoise blues in the scarabs, trilobites. And so just to introduce that piece.
It's absolutely gorgeous. I love it. And I hope you guys love it too. And take it away, Courtenay.
Thank you, Heidi. So I had decided that I wanted to go find adventure. And for whatever, I don't really remember exactly why I wanted to go to New York City, except that a friend of mine had... his girlfriend had been an au pair in New York City, and I had this idea in the back of my head that I would go there and we would all rendezvous in New York City, which we eventually did. But meantime, I had this revelation about my career as quantity surveyor and where's the adventure. Decided, given my notice, I gave him a month's notice, sold my beautiful Jaguar and settled all my accounts, and I had enough for a one-way ticket and £100 in my pocket. And a month later, I was on a plane to New York City with my £100 and a one-way ticket. And of course, I talked my way into the country. Back then, it was a lot easier. They said, well, where's your return ticket? And I said, I'm not sure when I want to return, and how much money you've got. I said, well, I have another ka-ching. Lovely sound. Just for those that you missed an earlier episode, the ka-ching that comes on my phone is whenever there's a sale on my store. It's like a little old-fashioned cash register. It goes ka-ching, and of course it always makes me happy. Anyway. So anytime you hear a ka-ching, you see my face light up, you'll know what's going on. I'm headed for New York City, and I get off. It's getting close to evening, and I have this address of somewhere in the West Village, and it's McDougall and Bleecker. So I get into this cab and I said, yes, I have a destination, cabby. McDougall and Bleecker in the West Village, please. And he looks me up and down. I've got my three-piece suit on with my pearl tie pin and the silk tie and the pocket handkerchief. And I've got my black briefcase that I carried all my business credentials in. Now it's got my toiletries in. And I just stuck my clothes in a luggage locker, my suitcase. And so I'm headed for Greenwich Village. And he says, well, I don't know if you'll fit in down there, And I said, well, that's the address I'd like, please. And so he takes me down into the West Village, which was, it's not like the West Village today. This was, the East Village, nobody went in there, it was really run down. And the West Village was just starting to kind of, get a little more respectable, more businesses. So he drops me off at the corner of McDougall and Bleecker, and there's a coffee shop on three of the corners of the four corners. And so the Cafe Figaro looks like it's the happening place. So I go into Cafe Figaro, which is, was pretty legendary even back then. And so I walk in, and it's all kind of low lighting, and I've got my three-piece suit, my briefcase and I'm all kind of shiny and crisp. And I walk in and there's all these people and they look like they're dressed in rags. They're all beatniks, kind of beatniks. They got the long hair and the Fu Manchu, mustaches, and they're all crowded around, playing chess and stuff, and all these exotic-looking young ladies, scurrying around serving in kind of half-clad. I was delighted to see, and so anyway, so I'm standing there. I'm thinking, these poor wretches. And they're looking at me and thinking, oh my God, this poor guy, he's so brittle, he's about to crack. It's like, and, if I could have seen myself, I'd be embarrassed. Of course, nothing embarrasses me anymore. But, but anyway, I get taken to a table, and there's Charlie Chaplin movies, silent movies, being projected on the walls, and there's, it's dark and dingy, and there's music going on, and I can see rodents scurrying around on the floor. I think, wow, this is, I'm in a dungeon with exotic people. Anyway, the girls are delightful, they make a fuss of me and, oh, I love your pocket handkerchief, I love your pearl tie pin, where are you from? I say, Mars, they say, yeah, you could be, honestly, you're like some kind of alien, showing up over here. I said, well, actually, I'm from London, I said, oh, okay then, are they all like you in London? I said, well, I hope not. So anyway, I have a delightful time in the Cafe Figaro. I have a great coffee, which I hadn't had real coffee. I'd only had, instant coffee in England. Real coffee in the Cafe Figaro, and a delightful meal, without any rodent droppings in it. It was actually quite nice. And these lovely girls that all came and made a fuss of me, which of course I loved. And then I leave and I walk down McDougall Street. McDougall Street's got the odd store, and there's a bunch of music venues, like, there's a kind of jazz place, and there's another coffee house, and they're advertising Richie Havens and stuff, and Bob Dylan was still playing on the street on and off back then. Hey, I have to, can I call you later? Sorry about that. Anyway, I'm walking down by these stores, and they're like tenements, they're 7-story walk-up buildings with like a shop at the bottom on the pavement level. And so I walk by this stoop, and there's this kind of handsome, aristocratic-looking Spaniard guy. He looks, but I'm walking by in my 3-piece suit, and he says, "Hey, senor, yeah, hey, from around here, huh?" I was like, "No shit, Sherlock, right?" He's Inglese, they quick like a Mexico. Yes, me, we make us some business. I was like, "Oh, really? Well, what kind of business are we going to make?" Oh, hello, Amanda. So what kind of business are we going to make? And he says, you see this storefront? This storefront, we make a head shop. He says, I got contacts, I got cousins. He says, I got rent-controlled apartment right here. 7-story walk-up, 2-bedroom. He said, you stay up there with me, and tomorrow we make us a store. And I said, well, how much is the store to rent? And he said, oh, it's $300 a month, which back in '68 is, $3,000. But anyway, I said, well, I have $100. And he says, well, I have $100. And I said, well, we're a little short. So I have an idea. Coming from the airport, I saw these push cart on the street selling hot dogs, and another one selling something else. And I'll build a push cart with my money, and you get the headgear, whatever it is, whatever the headgear is. It was pot pipes, incense, love beads, poison rings, kind of crap, incense. Anyway, and so stay the night up at the apartment. I got my own room. It's for, I get up and shower, and I go to a phone booth, and look up in the directory for the nearest hardware store. It's about 30 blocks up in Manhattan. And I've got the whole plan of this push cart in my head, all the dimensions, everything. So I go up and to this, walk the 30 blocks up to the hardware store, and I say, well, I'd like these cut to size, and I've got these beams, timbers, and plywood, and and got the hardware I needed, and then wheels that go on the bottom of the push cart, and they load me all up, and I've got all this bundle of stuff on my shoulders, and I'm like, walking 30 blocks back down to the village with all this stuff on my, and I go into the alleyway across from the store we want to rent, which is right by the tenement building where the apartment is, and I cobble this thing together. I've got the tools I need, I got the hardware I need, and I build this thing. It's like 4 feet at the front, 5 feet at the back, with these sloping showcase front and poles that go up in the corners, and you can put rails on the top and you can hang all the beads from it, and underneath with shelving, with I can shut the doors on the shelving, and I've got all of the goods. I can lock them down in the shelves, so that the whole thing, and I got it on wheels, and I wheel it out onto the sidewalk in McDougal Street, and now it's thronging with people, and and there's cab pulls up with Moisés Morales, this my new partner in business, and he goes, good pusher car, and we festoon this thing with the love beads and the poison rings and incense and pot pipes and stuff, which I made from brass fittings, actually, plumbing fittings, and little faucet screens for, what did I know? Anyway, they sold like crazy. But we festooned this car. An hour later, it's empty. Everything's gone. Everything. Every item we bought for, $1 or $2, we sold for $2 and $4. So we doubled our money. Okay, so Moises goes, it's good, it's happening. He says, I go get more. So he gets a cab, off he goes, and he comes back, 40 minutes later. He comes back with 4 times the amount of gear. He's just loaded. So our $100 investment and the $100 push cart, now we've got $800 worth of stuff. We sold it all out before midnight, and he goes off and gets more. And we're still selling at 2 a.m. And the next morning we rent the store. The very next morning, it's like 12 hours later, we rent the store. Have showcases, we've got lighting, we've got a sound system. I had found a source to get the Beatles' new White Album. I bought 100 of them. So we're blaring the White Album out onto the street, and you can buy one in the store. We got all the love beats hanging. We went in and we sprayed this place. It was this white foam stuff and all the pipes and everything, because it's a half basement, just half off the sidewalk and half below ground. But you walk by and you can see right in. So anyway, and then we were open for business by afternoon, and just cleaning up. And we were selling and we had a black light room and strobe lights and all this. It was fantastic, and the place was packed. And back then, in the summer of '68, it was hot, and there were all of these teeny boppers, coming down to New York City to get their hipsters stuff. And we were the only hipster stuff there was. I don't know where else they were looking for, because we were it. And man, we were just cleaning up. We were making about $1,000 profit a day. Can you imagine that in '68? And it just rocked. And then we ran the store. We got another guy to run the push cart, and then we opened a boutique around the corner on Bleecker Street, which is just a couple of blocks down from the Fillmore East, which of course, you let out at, late at night, and then they'd all come by my boutique, and I would have, a little stage set up, and I had a couple of models, and I was draping people with, exotic fabrics, and of course they came to see the naked women on the stage. But, it worked for me. But anyway, that's another story. So now I'm in New York, and it's happening. Streets are paved with gold. I'm seeking my fortune, and I'm finding it. Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks, Courtney. And again, we'll see you next Sunday. Make sure you like and subscribe.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.